What's going on, guys? I'm doing some fishing here in Ebonscale Reach. Just got back from vacation. I've been gone all week since last Sunday. Well, really, last Saturday night. But my fiance and I, we went down to Arizona. Spent our whole week touring the state, and if there happens to be anybody from Arizona watching this video, you guys have a beautiful state, I'll say that. So we flew into Phoenix. Had a great time in Phoenix. The weather was absolutely awesome. We did a little bit of light hiking, you know, some tourist stuff. Went to the aquarium. Went to like a national park, I think it's called Stone Mountain Park. That was cool. It's like 2,000 foot elevation. You can see the whole city of Phoenix from the lookout up there. Phoenix is a big city. You guys have a really, really big city. Oh, shark in this pond. That's weird. But awesome food in Phoenix, that's for sure. Awesome weather. People seem friendly. Seems like a 20 or 30 minute drive to get across the city wherever you're going. Traffic kind of sucked, I'm not gonna lie. That's probably the one thing I didn't really like about it, but I guess it can't be helped with a big city like that. Still growing too. Lots of stuff to do, that's for sure. I rented a car, 5.0 convertible Mustang, and we drove around. After Phoenix, we went up to Jerome, Arizona, and my main reason for making that a stop on our trip was to go to Maynard's wine shop there. Maynard James Keenan from Tool. He's got a winery, and I really wanted to go check it out, so we did. It's a nice little shop that he's got, and I bought a bottle of his wine, and we had a cheese board while we were in there and tasted a couple of different wines. But Jerome itself is absolutely crazy. It's a mile in the sky. It's like exactly 53 or 5,400 feet elevation. Actually, I had a little bit of like elevation dizziness or whatever you call it. Altitude. I wasn't really sick, but I was definitely, oh, cool treasure chest. Definitely out of breath and definitely feeling just a little weird because I had never been that high before. So we went from like, I think right around 900 or 1,000 feet elevation, whatever Phoenix is, up to in an hour drove up to 5,300 feet above sea level, a mile in the sky. And you know, this town's on the side of a 30-degree grade on this mountainside, so like everything's hilly and stairs. And then we're walking around, and I had some wine, and we sat down to eat, and all of a sudden I'm like, dude, like I just feel like slight headache, like hard to catch my breath. And look it up, and sure enough, I'm like, yeah, probably a little bit of altitude sickness. Just drank plenty of water, and I rested for a couple of hours, and then I was pretty much good for the most part. But Jerome is this old mining town. And they mainly mined copper ore there. And there was some silver and some gold. But it's just this crazy ghost town on the side of a mountain. And, you know, the town is pretty haunted, I'd say. For example, you know, the town has recorded, I think, 100,000 deaths from miners and other things, influenza, disease, accidents. There's fires, all types of stuff. But when you go there, there's only like, if you go to the cemetery, there's only like 200 plots in the cemetery. So you had 100,000 people die there, but you only had 100,000, or you had 100,000 people die there, and then you only had 200 people officially buried, and the people that were buried were pretty much the well-off people. Everybody else was cremated. And not only were they cremated, but they were cremated into what they call the slag. And that was used for concrete. And they had so many fires in the town that they decided to eventually just start building things out of concrete. And a lot of the slag has human remains in it, which was used in the concrete. So there's literal buildings made out of human remains. There's a hotel there that served as one of the hospitals back in the day. It's extremely haunted. But yeah, it's just an absolutely crazy town. They mined it for like over 20 years. Like millions of tons of ore. I think they did like... I got the picture here, let me see. Yeah, the mine there produced 674 million pounds of copper, 20 million ounces of silver, and 689,000 ounces of gold. At the time, that was valued at approximately $100 million. So the town became extremely wealthy, and the people that owned the mines obviously did as well. At the peak of the town's population, it was 15,000 people, and then now I think year-round it's just a couple hundred, but they see millions of tourists a year. Absolutely crazy. And the mine there, it goes deeper than several major landmark buildings, especially like it's deeper than the Eiffel Tower is tall, and the World Trade Center is tall, and all that stuff. It's like 4,000 something feet down into this mountain. And they had this, we went to the museum there, they had this model of the town, and then underneath ground level where all the buildings on the town were, they had a model, a subterranean model as well of the mines. And I couldn't believe like how deep it goes, and all these tunnels just still exist down there, as well as these tunnels would catch fire, and you know, literally burn. These subterranean fires in the tunnels, they had to bring in like outside firefighters to try to fight them. One of the fires that started in the tunnel like collapsed the tunnel itself and caused a landslide in the town and killed like hundreds of people just in their homes and businesses. And the jail, I think, it all just slid down the hill in a landslide, collapsed buildings, and killed a lot of people. The one of the jails there is actually called the Sliding Jail, and it's still intact from where it slid down the hill. And it's like a little landmark in the town. You can go like look at it. It's just sitting there like 100 or 200 feet from where it was originally built. And yeah, it's just a wild place. They had an actual ghost town there of like the gold mine. If you go tour it, you can see the entrance to the gold mine, and you can see like all the original old buildings. I think there's like 50 or 60 buildings near the gold mine, and there's a couple dozen or so. No, not even that many. Maybe 15 buildings left. The original like shanty town. It's a really cool place. We did some ghost hunting there. I've never went on a ghost tour or anything like that before. I've been to haunted places, but never like toured it officially with like a ghost tour guide, and we did that. And we used like an EMF reader and a spirit box, and we heard some pretty creepy things, I'm not gonna lie. We went to all the different haunted locations up to the gold mine and also to the cemetery. And my fiance Michelle, I heard some things because it scans the AM FM frequencies, and so you pick up like music sometimes, and you pick up like just radio chatter, and that's easy to distinguish usually, but sometimes you hear stuff that's either in response to your questions or just other random things that allegedly the spirits chime in with. And my fiance Michelle, it said her name over the spirit box while we were in the cemetery. And that was, I mean, I'm almost 33. That was definitely the most paranormal experience I've ever had. I've not had anything more strange than that happen. It was quite weird. But my fiance has experienced a lot of paranormal stuff in her life. I have not experienced that much. Other than like, I've gotten weird feelings in places, but nothing that I could ever say like, oh yeah, that's a ghost or something else. But yeah, the ghost hunting was great. Definitely kind of creepy. There's a 5-star restaurant in there that literally was my favorite meal that we had on the whole trip, and we spent a week in Arizona eating all over the place. It's called Clink Scale. I had such a good meal, I couldn't even believe it. It was delicious. So yeah, after Jerome, we departed and went north. We drove through Flagstaff to the Grand Canyon, and we saw the sunset at the Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon is one of those things where like it's so beautiful, your eyes like can't really make sense of what you're seeing. It's such a large scale. It doesn't really make sense what you're looking at. It's definitely one of the best experiences of my whole life. Like, you got to go to the Grand Canyon if you've never been. I definitely understand why they call it one of the 7 wonders of the world. And the ecosystem there is so just incredible. Like, after we watched the sunset at the Grand Canyon, it got dark, we left, and we went back to the little Grand Canyon village, like town right outside the entrance to the national park, and they have an IMAX theater there with the Grand Canyon IMAX presentation. We watched it. Definitely worth it. It was about 30 minutes just learning about the Grand Canyon in a more detailed manner. It's nice. And then we had like a mediocre dinner at this little steakhouse, like touristy steakhouse. And we went back to our little tiny home. We rented a tiny home in the Grand Canyon. But yeah, definitely one of the most memorable experiences of the whole trip, Grand Canyon for sure. After we left the Grand Canyon, we went back down through Flagstaff, hung out there. Flagstaff is a cool, just old historic railroad town. We did a haunted walk where we didn't actually do a tour, but we got like a brochure for like the different haunted locations that they have, and we walked those. And then we ate some lunch and just checked into the Airbnb there, and then went to another 5-star restaurant. It's called the Tinderbox Kitchen. Very, very good meal. Not taking anything away from them at all, but not as good as the Clink Scale. And then from Flagstaff, we drove down from Flagstaff on Highway 89 into Sedona. That's where we went next, was Sedona. The drive on Highway 89 from Flagstaff to Sedona is the most beautiful drive I've ever taken in my whole life. You go like down from the mountains in Flagstaff to like the valley of Sedona, I guess, and it is just, I think it's called the Verde Valley, and it is like driving through, I don't know, you just see like movies of like cool cars driving down like this windy mountain road in like some exotic location. It is exactly like that. It is just the most beautiful ride I've ever been on. I felt like I was in another country. And the leaves were starting to fall and like turn. And it was just awesome. I wish I would have had a dash camera or something of the drive, but it still wouldn't have done it justice. You have to just experience it. Oh, before we left Flagstaff, we did drive over to the Meteor Crater as well. The Meteor Crater Park. I think that was really, really cool as well. Definitely mind-blowing. I mean, it's just a huge hole in the ground from a meteor, and it doesn't seem like much, but when you're actually right up next to it, it's humbling. But yeah, Sedona, we stayed in Sedona, did some light hiking there. We went to a couple different like just tourist locations. We went to the museum there, and uptown Sedona is really nice little walk with a bunch of shops and restaurants. We spent a couple hours there, and we got some facials in Sedona. Michelle really wanted to get one, so I bought us some. Then checked into the Airbnb and went to sleep, woke up, and drove back down to Phoenix, and we met up with Michelle's cousins for lunch and a couple of drinks, and then we went to the airport and flew back. We got in late last night. Overall, really great trip. I was thoroughly impressed with everything about Arizona. Like, I know it gets really hot there, but the climate, at least for our vacation, was just excellent. Definitely the right time of the year to go. October, November-ish. Food was really great. I don't think I had one bad meal. So yeah, that's it. I'm back to my normal everyday routine life now. Kind of happy about it, kind of not. You know, being home is nice. I think after you're a week away from home in a completely different location, you start to get a little like, okay, like if I'm not gonna stay here for some really extended period of time, you start to get a little homesick. I don't know about you, but came back to our 2 doggies, and I don't know. It's like the bittersweet feeling of being on vacation and really enjoying where you are and what you're doing, and just my fiance and I enjoying each other's company. And then you come back to routine life, and there's comfort in routine, but there's also a lot of monotony in routine, and you just want to start planning the next vacation. When you go on like a really, really good vacation, like we just had, I guess that's a good thing about it. You want to figure out where you're going next. You want to plan the next one. But I pretty much planned this whole vacation. I mean, down to everything, where we were staying and our night to night like Airbnb locations and just the plan, the overall plan. So I think I'll let Michelle plan the next one. Have a feeling she's going to choose something with a beach. So anyways, I think I'll wrap it up here. This probably went like 30 minutes or so. I haven't looked at the clock, but talking about the whole trip, I just wanted to bring my experience, record it. I'll be making regular videos pretty much from now on since I'm back. So anyways, you guys have a wonderful day or night. See ya.